Hello and welcome back to another episode of the podcast Before Time. I'm Caleb Lane. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new. In today's video, by the way, I'm always going to say in today's video because that's just like how it works. But in today's audio recording, in today's podcast episode, alright, our plans for today's podcast episode is we're going to review the first movie. We're going to, you know what? I don't want to call it like a review because I don't like that terminology really, because it's not really going to be a review as much as it's going to be like my opinions and stuff. So, but hold on, we're waiting for this to load. But before we get started, I just wanted to let. Okay, Caleb, you'll get it eventually. You'll get it eventually. I just wanted to tell you guys that I hope you enjoyed the first episode that was put out last week. It was really really fun to do, especially the fan fiction we started. I found that very interesting. I hope you did too. It was a little dark, but it wasn't like it wasn't inappropriate. I mean, it was dark, but it wasn't inappropriate. If that makes sense. And The Land Before Time is something that something that I grew up with. Like, sorry, it's being slow, but like I was saying, The Land Before Time is literally something I grew up with. Like, I remember growing up watching in the mid to late in like the late 2000s, watching the Land Before Time movies on VHS. I think I had I definitely had the first 3, but I might have had the 4th one, but other than that, I don't really know. I think I had some of them, but I didn't have all of them. And I think I had I definitely had the first 3. I might have had, and I definitely had a couple other ones. I don't remember, but yeah, I but yeah, it was literally something that I grew up watching. I know, and my sister and I and my mom and I would come up with like what type of dinosaur we are. Like we would assign like a LBT Land Before Time character on each other, just by like how how your personality is, like how you look and stuff. I was Littlefoot or a long neck because I have, if you notice, like you can't see it now because it's audio only, but if you go back and say you watch my old YouTube videos, you know that I have an abnormally large neck. Like it's like so weird because it's like long neck. So that's where I got Littlefoot from, because Littlefoot is a long neck, and I'm not. So I'm going to do my review slash opinionation of the movie a little bit different than what somebody else would do. Basically, I'm just going to just give my opinions and and stuff, if that makes sense. But in case you don't know what the Land Before Time is, I have Wikipedia pulled up, and we're gonna give you a little bit of a summary. So, here we are. The Land Before Time is a 1988 animated adventure film that has to do with dinosaurs. The plot features a young brown apatosaurus named Littlefoot who ends up alone after his mother dies, protecting him from a villainous Tyrannosaurus Rex, or Sharktooth. Littlefoot flees famine and upheaval to search for the Great Valley, an area spared from devastation where the adult dinosaurs have moved on to. On his journey, he meets 4 young companions: Sarah, an orange triceratops, or three-horn; Ducky, a green snuffleupagus, Sara, whatever, she's a swimmer; Petrie, a brown pteranodon, or flyer; and Spike, a green stegosaurus. Previously on Caleb Can't Talk. Green stegosaurus. The film explores issues of prejudice between the different species and the hardships they endure on their journey as they are guided by the spirit of Littlefoot's mother and forced to deal with the Tyrannosaurus Rex, or Sharktooth, that killed her. So, so, so first opinion is that it was like Littlefoot's mother dying. And I get it. I get it. I understand like why it had to happen, and like why not literally like why it had to happen, but it for like the storyline to make sense. You know, it had to happen, but it's just it just felt so random. All right, so basically we still have Wikipedia pulled up because that's the best source of information I can get without having to like jump around in different places. So we are going to be looking at reading through the plot, and when I have an opinion, I will stop. And if I don't have an opinion and I want to explain something, I'll do that too. Alright, so let's start. During the age of the dinosaurs, a famine forces groups of dinosaurs to look for an oasis known as the Great Valley. So basically, for those of you who don't know, which you probably do if you're watching this podcast, but if you don't know, the Great Valley is basically a place where there's like plenty of green leaves to go around for everyone. And because of course you know that all of the dinosaurs other than the sharp tooth are vegetarians or er, are herbivores, like like you know, so they have to have like plenty of green leaves to eat, like tree stars, which is Littlefoot's favorite food. A long-necked dinosaur hatches a single baby named Littlefoot. Years later, Littlefoot encounters and plays with Sarah, a young three-horned dinosaur, until her father intervenes and says three-horns never play with long necks. And we'll get to the point later where we find out that that is in fact not true. In the evening, Littlefoot plays with Sarah again until a large sharp-toothed dinosaur pursues them. Littlefoot's mother eventually comes to their rescue, but is fatally wounded. During the struggle, an earthshake strikes and splits the land, swallowing up the sharp-tooth and dividing Sarah, Littlefoot, and the other dinosaurs from their herds. Several die in the process. Before dying, Littlefoot's wounded mother gives him some words of advice about finding the Great Valley. Let your heart guide you, it whispers, so listen closely. And let me tell you, both this part and the following parts after this are literally like some of the saddest in the movie, if not the saddest, not only in this movie and also the whole franchise. There's a couple of sad moments in like other movies that we'll get into when we do episodes on the other movies, but you know, confused and in grief, Littlefoot meets Rooter, an older dinosaur who consoles him. Littlefoot is then guided by his mother's voice, telling him to follow the sun to the Great Valley. First, he must pass several landmarks, such as a rock formation that resembles a long neck and the mountains that burn. Is that a volcano? What happens if you click on it? Yep, it's a volcano. Later, Littlefoot meets a young big-mouthed dinosaur named Ducky and a young flyer dinosaur named Petrie, themselves separated from their families during the Earthshake, who accompany him on his journey. Looking for her own kind, Sarah finds the unconscious Sharptooth inside a ravine and inadvertently wakes him up. Stupid mistake, Sarah. Stupid mistake, Sarah. She escapes and bumps into Littlefoot, Ducky, and Petrie. While describing her encounter, she accidentally flings Ducky in the direction of a lone hatching spiketail egg, from which a male emerges. Ducky names the hatchling Spike and inducts him into the group. So now everybody's together. Littlefoot, Sarah, Ducky, Petrie, Spike. All five of them are together. And they set off together. Or do they? Seeking the Great Valley, they discover a cluster of trees which is depleted by a herd of longnecks. Searching for remaining growth, they discovered a single leaf-bearing tree and obtained food by stacking on top of each other and pulling it down. Sarah remains aloof, but at nightfall she and everyone else gravitate to Littlefoot's side for warmth and companionship. So like I said, these people, all of these dinosaurs are now in like they're all friends at this point. And you know, all right, the next morning they are attacked by the Sharptooth, but manage to escape through a tunnel which is too small for him to follow. They discover the landmarks mentioned by the Littlefoot's mother. At the mountains that burn, aka volcanoes, a clash between Littlefoot's intention to follow his mother's directions and Sarah's insistence on leaving the group results in a fight between them, which causes the others to follow Sarah, forcing Littlefoot to continue alone. When Ducky and Spike become endangered by lava and Petrie gets stuck in a tar pit, Littlefoot returns to rescue them. Sarah gets ambushed by a group of domeheads, or Paki, whatever they're called, who live in the mountains that burn. The rest of the group pose as a tar monster, staring away the domeheads and frightening Sarah. After realizing who it really is, Sarah leaves the group and breaks down in tears, ashamed of her selfishness. Later, when crossing a pond, Petrie overhears the Sharptooth nearby. The group devises a plan to lure him to the pond and drown him in the deep side using a nearby boulder. During the ensuing struggle, a draft from the Sharptooth's nostrils enables Petrie to fly for the first time. The plan nearly fails when the Sharptooth begins attacking the boulder while the group attempts to push it onto him. However, Sarah, having overcome her sorrow, reunites with the group and headbutts the boulder, causing the Sharptooth to fall into the water, the boulder crashing into him in the process. And I just want to take a moment here because and it tell people that Sarah isn't a butt. Like, yes, Sarah can be a butt sometimes, but she's, I don't, she's strong, you know, she wants to be big and strong and fierce and, you know, she just wants to be her own person, is what I'm feeling like. So there's that. The boulder momentarily takes Petrie down with him, but Petrie emerges unharmed when the Sharptooth has drowned. While the Sharptooth has drowned, Littlefoot, alone and about to give up on his search, sees his mother as a cloud, and she guides him to the Great Valley. He is then joined by the others. After arrival, the five are reunited with their families. Petrie impresses his family with his newfound flight. I'm sorry, this cracked screen. Ducky introduces Spike to her family, who adopt him. Sarah reunites with her father, and Littlefoot finds his grandparents. The group reunites at the top of a hill and embrace each other in a hug. Which is literally a happy ending for a kind of, disturbing. I don't want to say disturbing. but disturbing. And honestly, I think I'm going to rate this movie. Like, you gotta go 10 out of 10 for this movie, because like, it's literally like the only, it's like the only, it's the only acceptable answer, because it's an amazing movie, and it's also the only movie that's not what quote as, which isn't and they musical. you know but anyways, now it's time to continue to read our fan fiction chapter of the episode. Today we are continuing the story Journey of the Heart, which is the story we read last week. So let's get into it. Later that day, Littlefoot took a nap, snuggled up in a sunny patch of soft green grass. His head was resting on his favorite rock, resting close to it as he drifted off to sleep. The warm rays of the sun danced across his face, casting a gentle glow. Littlefoot's gentle snores harmonized with the soothing rustle of leaves and chirping creatures, creating a serene symphony in the great valley. As he rested, he dreamed that he was back in the land of mist, and standing at the only tree with street stars was, to his surprise, his mother. Littlefoot slowly walked towards her, but his mother stopped eating and turned around to see him. Littlefoot's mother gazed lovingly at her young one, her warm eyes filled with tender affection. Her back was still wounded from the sharp-toothed attack, and she nuzzled her head onto that of Littlefoot's, whose usually vibrant face now wore a troubled expression. His brow furrowed, and his eyes seemed lost in tears. His mother's heart swelled with compassion, and she felt an overwhelming urge to comfort him. With a gentle smile, she reached out, her soft voice whispering soothing words. "Dear Littlefoot, what troubles you?" Littlefoot's eyes glazed upward, meeting his mother's compassionate stare. Standing together in the land of mist, surrounded by swirling vapors, he confessed, "It's not fair. She should have known better. Allie left us, and what if she's not coming back? Why can't I just let her go? Why do I miss her so much?" His voice trembled slightly, revealing the depth of his longing as he began to let out soft sobs. The misty veil seemed to echo his sentiment, as if the land itself shared his sorrow as raindrops began to fall down. Littlefoot's mother listened attentively, her expression filled with understanding and warmth, ready to offer comfort. To her son. Then suddenly her gentle form began to dissolve, her image distorting as raindrops enveloped her. Her loving expression faded, fragmenting into tiny droplets that merged with the falling rain. As his mother vanished, a faint whisper lingered. Littlefoot? Suddenly, a distant cry pierced the misty veil. Littlefoot, help! Allie's desperate cry echoed through the land of mist, growing louder. Littlefoot's heart skipped a beat, his eyes widening. Bleh, Caleb can't speak. Widening with urgency. Dark skies unleashed turmoil. Thunder boomed and lightning flashed. A hurricane brewed, its fury intensifying. Littlefoot's vision locked onto Allie, clinging desperately to a swaying tree branch, shrieking and screaming for help amidst relentless lightning strikes. The branch creaked, groaning under the force, then snapped. Allie's terrified cry faded into the distance as the hurricane's mighty wind swept her away. Littlefoot's anguish exploded into a heart-wrenching yell, his voice echoing through the stormy landscape. But suddenly, the scream shattered the nightmare's grip. Gasping, Littlefoot jolted awake, his chest heaving, and his eyes wide with residual fear. Sweat dripped Sweat dripped from his brow, and his surroundings slowly came into focus, reassuring him that it was just a terrible dream. He then let out another gasp as Rooter, an old Scolosaurus, who approached him with a look of sympathy on his face, his gentle voice softening. Rooter, Littlefoot tried to explain. Hey, buddy, rough nightmare, huh? Rooter asked, concern etched onto his face. Want to talk about it? Okay, pausing there for a second. Because this story, this story, I swear, Littlefoot took a few deep breaths, still shaking off the vivid nightmare. Rooter, I saw Allie. The hurricane took her away. I couldn't help her. Littlefoot's voice trembled, his eyes welling up with tears. Rooter's expression turned soothing, his voice gentle. Littlefoot, it was just a dream. Allie's safe. I am here for you. He paused, offering reassurance. You are not alone. Unnoticed, Sarah stood behind a bush, empathy covering her face. She listened intently, her eyes locked on Littlefoot. Littlefoot, why don't you go find some sweet berries or play toss the sea with your friends? Do something that makes you feel better, said Rooter. With a gentle nod, Rooter turned and walked away, leaving Littlefoot to find solace. Sarah, still hidden behind the bush, watched the old dinosaur leave. The young Longneck, Caleb can't speak again, gazed around, lost in thought, as the melody of strange magic by Electric Light Orchestra enveloped the landscape. I love this story because there's some random songs that have nothing to do with the land of the dinosaurs, but it's chill. The song's enchanting harmony seemed to lift his spirits. Inspired, he spotted a large flat rock and began to paint with berry juice. With vibrant strokes, he brought his friends and himself to life on the rock. Allie's gentle smile, Sarah's confident pose, Spike's grin, and Ducky and Petrie's playful splashes emerged. As the song swelled, Littlefoot's tail danced, blending colors in joyful harmony. The painting flourished, capturing laughter, adventure, and friendship. The song wove its spell, transporting Littlefoot to, to memories of cherished moments with his friends. His heart lightened, and a smile spread across his face. Sarah comes out from the bush as the song fades out, walking towards her friend. She then saw his painting and was mesmerized by the brilliant and vibrant hues. Her eyes widened with wonder. Littlefoot, your painting is breathtaking, Sarah exclaimed. The way you captured us, our friendship. It's like the Great Valley itself came alive. Her voice filled with sincerity. Sarah's tough exterior softened. You're incredibly talented, Littlefoot. This is truly special. Littlefoot's face glowed with a warm smile, thrilled by Sarah's praise. Thanks, Sarah. I was thinking about us, and the colors just flowed. He replied, eyes sparkling. You look amazing in berry juice pink. Sarah chuckled as Littlefoot gestured to her depiction in the painting. I'm glad you like it, Sarah responded. Sarah's expression then turned Next up on Caleb Can't Speak, learning how to pronounce vulnerable. Caleb, vulnerable, whatever. Her voice gentle. Littlefoot, if you ever left the Great Valley, I'd miss you very much, she said, her words hanging in the air. Littlefoot's eyes widened, surprised. Really? Well, why didn't you ever tell me? He asked. Sarah's heart opened, her words flowing freely. I didn't know how to before. You were always so full of wonder, exploring. I didn't want to hold you back, but seeing you painting, remembering our adventures, I really I realized how much you mean to me, she said, her voice softening further. You're more than just my best friend, Littlefoot. You're my family, Sarah finished. Littlefoot's face glowed with warmth, his heart touched by Sarah's words. Aw, Sarah, I miss you too. he said, smiling and feeling grateful. You're my strongest best friend, always there. His voice was filled with emotion as he continued. I couldn't imagine the Great Valley without you either. We've shared so many adventures, the egg stealers, the sharp teeth we accidentally let in the valley, bringing water back to the valley, and our adventure with Allie to save Grandpa. He stepped closer, his eyes shining as he began to nuzzle his head on Sarah's. You're family to me too, Sarah. Littlefoot and Sarah leaned in, their heads gently touching in a heartfelt nuzzle. Warmth and affection flowed between them, sealing their bond. As they pulled back, smiles spread across their faces. Littlefoot's eyes in particular sparkled as he said, Hey, you want to go explore the secret caverns with me? Sarah's grin widened. I'm always up for an adventure with you, she exclaimed proudly. Littlefoot chuckled and said, All right, come on, but you'll have to keep up. Together, they set off towards the mysterious caverns, excitement building for the discoveries ahead. Would they see things with glowing eyes that use the dark as the disguise or catch them by surprise? They didn't have to worry about that. They would look through the caves, both big and small. They'd see funny rocks, even the waterfall. They ventured through the secret caverns, their footsteps echoing off ancient stones. As they rounded a corner, after a while, they stumbled across a lone long neck, shrouded in shadows, soft sobs filling the air. Curiously, Littlefoot and Sarah approached cautiously. The long neck, after a while, lifted her head, revealing a tear-stained cheeks, as well as a familiar face. As well as a familiar face. It's Allie. It's Allie, bitch. Allie, exclaimed Littlefoot, thrilled. Allie's eyes sparkled momentarily. Hold on. Momentarily, before revealing with tears, sniffling, Littlefoot rushed to her side and said, What's wrong, Allie? Concern etching his face. Allie's voice trembled as she told them through tears, It's not fair. She should have known better, that those were egg stealers. It's all her fault. All whose fault? Sarah asked. Mother's, Allie said through her tears. Littlefoot recognized a moment like this and softly said, Oh, I see, I see. Why did I wander so far from home? Allie said through her sobs before being nuzzled by Littlefoot. Allie continued. She knew those two were dangerous. What am I going to do without her? It's not your fault, Allie, Littlefoot said gently. It was not your mother's fault. Now, you pay attention to me, because it was nobody's fault. I'm all alone, and I'm afraid and lost, Allie said, her tears beginning to go away as she felt comfort from her friend. My tummy hurts. Littlefoot's expression turned empathetic. All of that will go away once we get you out of here, he said to her. We won't leave until you're safe, Sarah said, nodding resolutely. Littlefoot, Sarah, and Allie, after a while, emerged from the cave's darkness and into a warm sunset bathed Great Valley. Golden hues danced around the landscape as the three friends made their way through the tranquil evening. Littlefoot guided Allie gently, ensuring her safety. Sarah walked alongside, offering reassuring presence. As twilight approached, Littlefoot led Allie to his grandparents' tranquil clearing. They were surprised to see Allie. Grandma Longneck asked softly, Allie, child, why have you come back to our valley sad and alone? Littlefoot spoke up, his voice filled with sorrow. Allie's mother is gone, Grandma. She was taken by egg stealers. Their faces suddenly began to reflect empathy, understanding Allie's pain. Grandma Longneck's voice softened the sorrow, saying, Oh, Allie, we're deeply sorry. Losing a loved one is never easy, but you're safe now. We're going to take such good care of you. You'll find comfort and family here, Grandpa Longneck reassured. Allie's eyes welled up, grateful for their love and support. Sarah smiled softly, knowing Allie was in caring hands as she walked off back to her resting area with her stepfather, a gray three-horn named Bambo. Bambo wrapped his tail around the young three-horn, pulling her nearby. My little one, he whispered. Sarah's eyes sparkled with love. Hi, Daddy, she said. Bambo nuzzled her gently. How's my strong little battle angel today? He asked playfully. Sarah smiled and replied, He very happy, Daddy. And no matter where you go, no matter what you do, stay close to us. We may feel safe here in the valley, and the Great Valley protects us from shark teeth and other dangers of the mysterious beyond. But that doesn't mean there aren't dangers in the valley, too, Grandpa Longneck said to Allie. You must always be careful. Now it is time for her to sleep. The bright cir- Now it is time for sleep. The bright circle has now gone from the sky, Grandma Longneck said, leading both her grandson and Allie to a resting place. But I'm not sleepy, Allie said, following her to the resting place. Go along, Allie, Grandpa Longneck insisted. But I'm not. Allie tried to stay before yawning, drifting off to sleep. I'm not, she said once more before falling asleep. Littlefoot laid next to Allie, telling his grandparents, I'm thirsty. Yes, Littlefoot, Grandpa Longneck said, as Grandma Longneck placed a dry tree star with water drops on it next to him. Littlefoot then let out a big yawn. Good night, Grandpa. Good night, Grandma, Littlefoot said as he nuzzled them both, ready to drift off to sleep next to Allie. Good night, my little one, Grandma Longneck said to him before walking off to their resting place with Grandpa Longneck. Littlefoot then gazed upwards at the star-filled sky, the twinkling lights shimmering like diamonds against the velvet darkness. His eyes sparkled with wonder as he remembered his mother telling him, "The stars up above are the souls of our loved ones. No matter where you go, how alone you are, or how lost you feel, they're watching over us." A gentle smile appeared on his face. "Good night, mother," he softly whispered, his voice filled with love. As he spoke, the stars seemed to shine brighter, their gentle sparkle enveloping him. Littlefoot's eyelids grew heavy, and his breathing slowed. With a heart full of peace and love, he yawned once more and drifted off to sleep under the starry night sky. Meanwhile, Sarah fell asleep next to Bambo. After the two watched the stars twinkling above, his heart was filled with warmth and love. And as he whispered to his daughter, "I love you, my little battle angel." The great valley became a serene nocturnal paradise. Soft moonlight cast a silvery glow, illuminating the rolling hills and lush vegetation. The gentle rustle of leaves and chirping crickets filled the air, and a calm breeze carried the sweet scent of blooming flowers. The towering trees stood sentinel, their branches swaying softly. A tranquil lake whispered the I don't know where I got whispered from, but reflected the starry sky, its surface shimmering. The air was filled with peace and magic, and in this serene landscape, Littlefoot and his friends slept soundly. And that was the end of the chapter that we are going to be reading today. Next week's episode, we will continue the story in next week's episode with chapter 3. Um, but before we go, I just want to, I just want to take a take. I think I want to take. All right, I think we're gonna do 3 quizzes before we before we you know before we you know before we know before we you know before we you know before we I'm sorry, I had to um before we conclude today's episode. And they're also fun to do. Whether it be like what character are you, and stuff like that. Hold on, my bed is literally falling. but like I said, whether it be about like what character are you, like, all right, we're gonna do another. The first one is which one is you? Which character are you? Favorite species of dinosaurs? No, my favorite species of dinosaurs out of these ones, I'll have to say a tyran. No, these ones a pteranodon. Is it raining? How would you describe yourself? Ambitious, determined, hungry, happy, careful. Gotta say hungry. Yep, it's raining outside, y'all. Which would you rather do on a free day? Read, exercise, sleep and eat, go swimming, go for a nice walk. Probably read. I feel like a reader. First off, what is your favorite species of dinosaur? I answered that already. Pteranodon. Finally, choose a character to go on a journey with. I want to go on a journey with Ducky. Next up, what is your favorite color? Out, why is purple not an option? Why is purple not an option? I guess blue, because that's my second favorite color. What is your greatest quality? Caring, determined, bravery, cheerful, or cautious? I feel like I'm very caring, if you know what I mean. What would you say is your worst characteristic? Slightly immature, yep, short temper. Nah, very lazy, not very intelligent, a worrier. Yes, I worry literally all the time. Literally all the time. All the time I am worrying about stuff. What is most important to you? Family, success, food, friends, safety. Friends. Definitely friends. What are you most afraid of? Sharptooth, losing, failure, being alone, death. Death. Nothing is more depressing than death. I'm Littlefoot. That brings back so many memories. So many, so many memories of my childhood and being. Now we're going to do a type of, trivia quiz. What is the main character's name? Littlefoot. What natural disaster occurs when Sharptooth is chasing the main character in Sarah? It was an earthquake or an earth shake for my LBTers. Also, by the way, I like because LB Land Before Time is LBT and LBTers. I think our podcast fan name should be the PBTers. Um, because I'm really bad at it, and whatever y'all decide to come up with, just know you will always be the PBTers. Which character did the narrator of the movie also play? Rooter? Because I don't recognize the other characters, and I didn't know that actually. Where were all the herds trying to get to? The Great Valley, the Green Food Valley, the Green Valley, or the Great Mountain? It's the Great Valley. What did Littlefoot's mother give him before she died? A leaf, a tree star, a jungle star, a tree leaf. It's called a tree star. It's called a tree star. Also, as we're filming this episode, my 3IC is bringing in messaging me stuff because I asked her to see if she could make a cover photo for the podcast, which was more like LBTE than what I have now. Um, who was bait for Sharktooth? Wasn't it Petrie? It was Petrie, right? It definitely wasn't Spiker. Yeah, it was Petrie. I'm pretty sure. How did Sharktooth die? Didn't he drown? I'm pretty sure he drowned. But he also fell off a cliff. But he drowned. I'm gonna put he drowned because I remember that and the What did Littlefoot see in the clouds? His mother. Who found the valley everyone was trying to find? Was it Spike? I don't know. I don't remember all of this. Who adopted Spike? No one. Sarah, Ducky, Petrie. Ducky did. Submit my answers. You better tell me. All right, I got question 1 right, question 2 right, question 3 right, 4 right, 5 right. Oh, it was Ducky who was bait for the sharp tooth, not Petrie. But why do I remember it being Petrie? I did get the drowning question right. Who found the valley everyone was trying to find? I don't know why I answered Spike. Obviously, it wasn't Spike, but it was Littlefoot. Who adopted Spike? I got an 8 out of 5. I got an 80% in American grading. Um, that was a fun one. All right, we're going to do a close off with another. Which character are you? And we can either get Littlefoot, Ducky, Petrie, Sarah, Spike, or Chomper. Starting off easy, what's your favorite color? My favorite color is purple. Always been purple. Bye bye ad. What suits your personality the most? Sweet, courageous, stubborn, quiet, docile, cautious, loyal, friendly. I think I'm friendly. I can be friendly, but also kind of an ass at the same time. But I'm definitely loyal, unless you f me over. So I'm gonna go with loyal. What is your biggest fear? Feeling weak, deadly animals, everyone leaving you, being rejected, failing, your friends not liking you, or natural disasters. Basically, everybody leaving me. That's like one of my biggest fears, like actually in real life. What is your zodiac sign? Okay, this is really a weird question, like, but I'm a Capricorn. I was born in January. Are you extroverted or introverted? Definitely, I'm a huge introvert. I'm literally the biggest introvert I know. What is your favorite movie genre? I love a good. I love a good. I think out of these, I love a good horror. I love a good horror movie. What would you rather be doing? Eating, hanging out with friends, swimming, arguing with people online, physical activity, spending time with family, sleeping. Probably eating. Like I mentioned earlier, I love to eat. And lastly, what is your favorite animal? My favorite animal is a sloth, which isn't an option here. So I'm going to choose wolf, which is probably one of my second or third favorite. I think a wolf is like my third favorite animal. And I'm Chomper. That's cool. But anyways, guys, that's where we are going to end in today's episode. I really, really want to thank you guys for listening and tuning in. Um, Hey, I didn't say as many times in this episode. That's so cool. Like sometimes it flows and then other times it's like flows very well and I like barely say it and it's still raining. Like y'all, it's been raining like literally every day for the past like 2, 3 weeks. It's annoying. And it's not like it's cool outside, it's like 100 degrees outside. But anyways, guys, I'm out of here. I will see you next week for another episode. Bye.